Notice the word first. Now, that's an interesting word, that's the first right they started with. And it's interesting for several reasons. Because if you can figure out where someone is on the life, I don't know who's running for U.S. Senate in Montana. I don't care who's running for Senate. If you will tell me where they are on the life issue, with a 98% degree of certainty, I will tell you how they will vote on every other issue they face. You tell me where they are in life, I'll tell you what they do on the small arms treaty. I'll tell you what they do on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. I'll tell you where they are on climate change. I'll tell you where they are on taxes. I'll tell you where they are. You just tell me where they are on life. And with a 90% degree of certainty, I will tell you exactly how they're going to vote on every other issue. Now, it's interesting. If you're wrong on the life issue, you're also going to be wrong on the First Amendment guarantee for the free exercise of religion. Oh, we need to regulate that. We don't need gun. If you're wrong on life, you're going to be wrong on other inalienable rights. If you get the first inalienable right wrong, you're going to get the second, third, fourth, 20th inalienable right wrong. If you're wrong on the right to life, you're going to be wrong on the Second Amendment right to defend myself. You're going to say, oh, guns are really bad. We got to regulate the guns. How about regulate the heart? No, that's religion. We don't do that. No, it's the heart. It's, you know what would have saved Abel from Cain? If we had rock control laws, we could have saved Abel from Cain. What we need is, he clubbed him to death with a rock. If we just had rock control laws, we wouldn't have murder. No, if you got murder in your heart, it's going to come out some way. So if you're wrong on the right to life, you're going to be wrong on self-defense. If you're wrong on the right to life, you're going to be wrong on the Fifth Amendment, private property. If you're wrong on the right to life, you're going to be wrong on the Seventh Amendment definition of marriage. You get everything else wrong if you're wrong on the life issue. Now, granted, those are all social issues we're talking about. And people say, well, I'm not a social conservative, I'm economic conservative. Okay, let's talk about economic issues for a minute. If you look at economic issues, there are a lot of groups out there that measure economic issues, and you know what they are. We're seeing a whole lot of them right now. I mean, the stuff that comes out of DC, debt, taxes, deficit, all those are economic issues. Well, if you take something, we're talking life, so let me take a life group like Susan B. Anthony. They will every year rank all the 435 members of the House of Representatives. And this year's ranking, if you look, these are all 100%ers. These are all folks that are 100% pro-life. Everything's right on the way they vote on life. They protect life every opportunity they get. Well, there's also other groups in D.C. that really don't care about life issue. Like, for example, if you take groups like the Americans for Prosperity, these guys, all they care about is economic issues. It's interesting, if you want to see the best economic votes in America, it's actually one-to-one correlation. If you get life right, you'll get every other issue right. You'll be right on economics. Well, I'm only an economic conservative. No, you say you are. If you're wrong on life, you're probably only going to vote 40, 50, 60%. You can call yourself an economic conservative. You're not going to be. Voting record is what it says on that. And then on the other side, if you take the worst life representatives, those that get a 0 on the life issue, and if you bump them up against what happens with Americans for Prosperity, you see almost the same one-to-one correlation. They're really bad on economics. They're really bad on life. They're really bad on everything else. And it makes a lot of sense because if they won't protect your life, why would they protect your money? You know, which is more important, your life or your money? Life. If they won't protect the most important, why would they protect what's less? And so that's why it becomes so significant, and that's why right to life is first. As social issues and economic issues, you know, if you're going down the interstate, once you're off the interstate, you're off the interstate. And you're going to be wrong until you get back on the interstate, and that's the life issue. If you can't get that one right, you're off track somewhere, and you're going to be off track on everything else that comes up, just all the way across the board. So what has to happen is you have to elect leaders, you don't have to lobby, and that's where life has to come first. Now, you got Janet running, and I think life is first for her. I don't have to wonder where she's going to be on economic issues. Well, there's so much more than Congress and life. You don't get 10 or 12 votes a year on life issue. And there's nearly 1,000 votes a year that congressmen cast. Most of us aren't aware of how many votes they cast. So somewhere between 13 and 15,000 bills introduced to federal Congress every year. We have a legislative network. We have about 1,000 state legislators we work with, including a bunch of guys here in Ohio. Last year, in the last 12 months, we've had 159,000 pieces of legislation introduced at the state level. 159,000 pieces. It's 13 to 15,000 at the federal level, and there's about 1,000 votes a year cast at the federal level. Try to name 1,000 votes in this room. We might come up with a dozen, maybe. So there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on that we never even see about, and a whole bunch of economic issues. She's only going to get to vote on 10 or 12 life issues. It doesn't matter. I know how she's going to vote on the rest of the issues, because if you get life first, everything else is going to go in that right direction, because that's the viewpoint. So again, the axiom that you want to elect leaders, you don't have to lobby. I don't think you're going to have to lobby Jennifer to do what's right. It's going to be a fairly easy thing to do. So this is why Christians getting involved has such an impact. If we don't get the right kind of leaders in, we won't get the right kind of government. And it goes back to us Christians. It goes back to us as churches, us as people of faith getting actively involved in that arena. And as you've seen, this is the way it was. This, going back to John Adams, who did list, it wasn't political guys, he listed the spiritual guys. Because that's what shaped the political world, and that's what we have to get back into today, is recover that part of our history. God bless you guys. Thanks for letting me share.